Hello, everybody. Welcome to Old Men
Hello,
Magic, Episode 2, with your hosts, Alex and Steve.
welcome.
Greetings, Alex. How are you doing?
Greetings, Steve. I'm very well. How are you?
Pretty good. What's been
You
going
ready to
on?
talk about magic cards
Yeah,
and other things?
I have topics. I have topics. I hear you have topics. Somebody told me you brought topics this week.
I have a couple topics.
Do you want to get right into it?
Sure, why not? Yeah, we talked off camera a little bit. Got set up. First thing I noticed online, a card you mentioned a few weeks ago that I agreed with you on. I was like, oh, that's a good card to buy. Yeah, I'll put that on my list.
Yes, it was.
Didn't, didn't, huh?
Yeah, yes, it was a good. I'm sure it
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
good,
yeah, yeah,
good
yeah.
card.
You don't even know what it is. I'm totally sure of yourself.
I recommended
Um,
it, so I'm sure it was good.
and I wasn't buying anything. I wasn't really shopping for cards for a few weeks here, and I looked online, and someone apparently bought up a whole bunch of copies of Soldevi Excavations, uh,
Are you
like
serious?
40 or 60 copies of it, and now it's like $40.
Are you serious?
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
I'm not done, but I only have one copy. I'm
I know.
tired
I
of
didn't
these
get any.
people.
I know. I'm tired
Uh,
of these people.
every week it's some new stupid thing.
I know. Yeah, every week there's a buy. Haunting Wind got hit again. More people started buying Haunting Wind, that antiquities card that uh, works against treasure tokens.
I don't even
Which I
remember
liked.
that.
I liked it just because of its artwork. I was gonna buy it for $20 because I liked its artwork and it was from antiquities. And now it's like $50 or $70 or some dumb shit.
I
But
have to
anyways,
I have to pull that up because I don't remember even what it looks like.
Haunting Wind. It's like
Haunting Wind
spirits flying
Antiquities.
around a lantern
Oh yeah,
or a chime or some kind of thing.
a gingerbread house.
A
Uh,
gingerbread house. It's great.
so I don't know anything about treasures because I don't pay attention to sets with treasures
They're
in them.
mana producing artifact tokens, so it will penalize people for having them.
They're always artifact tokens.
I believe so.
They're
Yeah, I
always
think.
okay. Each time an artifact in play is tapped or its activation cost is paid, Haunting Wind does one damage. Okay, so it totally fucks up. So if you plan on tapping your treasure for
If you have
mana,
lots of
you're
mana
gonna you're
rocks,
gonna get
kind
one
of like little
damage.
mana rocks that you sacrifice.
Oh,
That's a better way of putting it, maybe.
yeah. So I mean, this is a pretty good card for at least a sideboard card against a lot of
Yeah,
decks because
anti-artifact. It's not the cheapest. It could be black two or something. That would be
yeah,
great. But I like the artwork on it. It's from Antiquities. It was pretty unknown, and when I saw it, I thought like that's cool. And then apparently someone else like I don't know saw it a week later and bought up a whole bunch of them a few months ago, and I was like, fuck, now it's $80.
somebody out there was like, I have $7.5 million sitting in a bank account. Let me just
Why
buy
not
up
spend
magic
3
cards.
grand on a bunch of these? I don't know. But
So
yeah, someone did it to Soldevi Excavations. I don't know. It's an alliance card. It's more of them will pop out of shoe boxes now, maybe because it'll drop back down a little bit.
I think
But
I just wanted like one,
I
maybe
would
two.
like one or two of them.
Yeah, I have one. I don't have a second. It hasn't spiked yet on MTG stocks. Maybe on Monday. I'll see. You said it's above $40 on what
Yeah, let me
TCG
see real
player now
quick.
or something.
Yeah, let me see.
MTG stocks updates every Monday, so might not have picked it up yet. The whole buyout thing is very weird to me. So, I've only started paying attention to Magic cards again recently, and there have been a couple buyouts, or at least, if not, if they haven't reached the buyout level, enhanced buying activities on
Uh-huh.
a few different cards that I've seen. And it's like, I really wonder how long that higher price, like where the price is going to stabilize at. If it's going to
Yeah.
fall back down, how long it's going to take to fall back down, if it will ever fall back down to its original levels.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you got to think every time one of these happens, there's like a person out there that has like 700 copies of this card. What is that? They can't even really put them back on the market.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's getting back to the whole like exit strat. Everyone talks about
There
exit
is no
strategy,
exit strategy
you
for a
know,
lot of this stuff.
and like you have to have it, like especially it's a big thing if you're buying sealed product, investing in that. Like, how are you going to get rid of that one day? But yeah, if you have 700 copies of it, you can't flood the market with them all at once. You'll hurt yourself.
Yeah.
by dropping the price. So you have to trickle them out, and that's a lot of work and a lot of time. You have to be sitting there like slowly doing that.
So I'm not a big brain speculator. Maybe there are definitely ways that you can do this and make a lot of money on these buyouts that I'm just not thinking of or not aware of. But it seems to me like it's not the best. Like if they're doing this to try to make money, it's not the best use of their
No,
capital.
no. I think like yeah, you said in certain situations it might work if you're able to hit a card that you see has a lot of demand currently for from play. You know, if there's a
Mm-hmm.
card in a popular format that's
Yes.
suddenly coming into demand and you can get ahead of that, like yeah, then it kind of makes sense. Or maybe if it's a card from a really old set like Arabian Nights or some shit like that,
Yeah.
then you can have an impact on the market. But I think buying out an alliances card or you know uh Grinning Totem, like it's
Shh, Alex, don't can't tell people about that yet. There are no full disclosures.
no, back to Soul Navy excavations.
But also, some people might just do it for the hell of it. Like there's
Yeah,
a guy. I don't
it's
know if
like
you've
this
ever
and I want
seen
to
the.
collect them.
Have you seen the YouTube channel Alpha Hoarder? I think I might have
i've
sent you.
heard of i've heard of that, yeah, yeah.
He has a pretty cool YouTube channel where it's just his hands unboxing fancy alpha cards while he talks about different things. Sometimes it's magic related, sometimes it's like investing related. It's usually magic specific. Uh, but he had one episode where he discussed a buyout that he performed, and it was just like an experiment he wanted to run just for the fun of it. He wanted to see how the market behaved if someone were to do a buyout of a non-reserve list old card. So he picked some card in antiquities. It was an Ashnod's something or other, I think. Ashnod's Transmogriper.
Okay.
Ashnod's Transmogrant. So yeah,
Transmogrifier.
he had a video
Trans-
showing his massive, massive stacks of antiquities, Ashnod's Transmogrant. He liked the art. He said he picked this card for a couple reasons. It's not reserve list. It's been reprinted. So it's not, and it's not really heavily played. So, he wasn't going to like screw up the ability of just some players trying to get a play set. It seemed like he just wanted to do it to see how the market would react. And he
huh.
tracked the price over time as he bought it. And when he stopped buying, he tracked where the price settled out at. And he had these spreadsheets. I was only half paying attention to the video, but he had these spreadsheets showing the price movements over time. So who knows? Who knows why somebody's buying out Soldevi excavations?
You're right, yeah.
It might just be for the hell of it. Like this guy
Yeah,
who just likes to have as many copies as he can get his hands on of a lot of
it's
these
an
old cards.
interesting point about like economics in general, and then I think it becomes even more magnified when you get into collectibles. But like sometimes people don't behave rationally uh in the market. They might not, or at least rationally according to us, they might just do things on a whim, and usually that won't make a big difference, but sometimes it can if the person's like really committed and they have a lot of resources or something. I don't know.
He seems to be both of those. So I
Yeah.
think he started doing the buyout in 2021.
It's kind of a cool card and a cool looking card when you actually look at it. It's one of these cards that you ignore because it was in Chronicles. You're just like, trash.
Yeah. But in 2021, it was like $2. Early 2021. September 2021, it got up to almost $40 market price. And here we are almost a year later, and it's settled out. It hasn't settled. I don't know. It's kind of plateaued, at least short term, at like $30.
Yeah, on
So
TCG it's at 28,
I don't
29. Yeah, like
now. I don't know if that was like him. I don't know how many copies of this thing he bought. Is it possible for him alone to drive this price and make it stay at $30? Or the another thing that could happen is when there's not much movement in the market, you might get the eyes and the attention of so many other people.
yeah.
If they just people all over the place start buying it, they're like, "Oh my god, I got
Combined
to
with the
get one of
fact that he
these."
made a video about it,
Yeah.
So if you can, you see
Although,
it,
if somebody makes a video and is like, "I drove the price of this card up tenfold in 4 months," I'm not gonna want to then buy that card because it's like, okay, Now I know the only reason this price is up is because it was
Maybe
artificially
and
spiked
maybe
by one
not
human
though.
being.
Again, like I don't know. People will interpret that differently. You because you could look at that and be like, well, that guy's sitting on a whole bunch of them. They're out of the market. He might not,
I just thought of I thought he might make his next video might be him burning every copy of
yeah,
astronauts
who knows?
transmogrified.
Or just sit there with him. Then
And
he's
then
doing
that's
his
it.
experiment. He doesn't really care about selling them and get because he
I
bought
don't
them
think he
for a buck
sells.
a
He
piece.
is a
You
hoarder.
know,
He's a
yeah,
self-professed
yeah.
hoarder.
So
They're there forever until he dies, and then who knows what's going to happen to him.
yeah, I don't know. It's probably not great to buy high,
Yeah.
but it's.
Which if he
I'm
ever
just saying,
listens,
some people might interpret that in a different way.
if he ever listens to this podcast, I would ask him to please not start
We should have
hoarding.
him as a guest.
Please do not start hoarding pre-modern cards yet. I'm totally fine with you hoarding alpha. It's not something that I'm that interested in. I've always
Yeah,
been priced out of alpha.
lucky
And it
stuff
doesn't
out on
affect my
it's
ability to play
crazy
Magic
kid.
the Gathering that I can't get an alpha version of anything. I understand as a collectible, but I don't need it. Please don't start buying all of the pre-modern cards that I would like. I'm excited about pre-modern because it's not there are definitely things that are way too expensive for me to be buying right now in pre-modern. For instance,
Yeah, but
Guy's Cradle. I'm not going to buy a playset of Guy's Cradle. I'm not going to buy a playset of Mox diamonds anytime soon.
most of it is accessible.
But exactly,
Yeah,
there's there's a lot of really fun looking decks that I can build still in pre-modern, probably for under a couple $100. And there's a lot of kick-ass cards in pre-modern that they're not cheap. They're like $50 or so, maybe sometimes $100. That's still accessible to me. I can buy some of those every once in a while, and still feel like I'm getting something that I really enjoy, something that's fun to play with. Uh, one of the reasons I like pre-modern. It's old frame. It's nostalgic, but I'm not totally priced out of it yet, the way I am with Alpha or even
yeah.
Unlimited.
Playing like vintage and legacy is, it's expensive.
It's crazy. I've been listening to some other podcasts recently, mostly old school kind of stuff, and one of them it's called All Things Considered. It's an old school podcast, but they're starting to cover pre-modern, and they were talking about a tournament that they went to, and they started talking about the deck. And the one guy was like, "What is the deck? If you wanted to build the deck, what would it even cost these days? Like $20,000?" And the other guy was like, "Oh my god, way more than that." And it's true. Like
Yeah, I
if
mean,
I
if
were to
you want to put a Lotus and Moxes in it, I mean,
exactly the
yeah,
Power Nine alone, I don't know how much you would have to spend $50,000 for
yeah, I
those
mean, yeah, I
alone.
mean, yeah.
Shitty copies.
So, any super good old deck like that is going to be a Power Nine deck. So I guess
Yeah,
take that, calculate it, note it, and then take it off. You
yeah,
know, but then this deck run uses Library of Alexandria,
yeah.
um, and
Dual
what are the
lands,
other dual lands, of course, and what are the other expensive cards? There's, I mean,
moat, or the
Moat, yeah,
abyss,
Moat is the one I wasn't thinking of. I think.
depending on the version you're running.
What did you
It's
say?
moat or abyss,
Yeah, Mana
depending on the
Drains.
version. Mana drains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I think that's the big ones. Then Sarah Angels and Scepters and Counter Spells and most of there's low cost stuff in there obviously, but it definitely has a couple big cards other than the Power
Yeah.
Nine.
So what? If you wanted to assemble a copy of it, a version of it with cards that were beat to shit, 50 grand?
Maybe less than that if they were beat to shit.
I
I don't
don't
know.
even know. So there's a guy I follow on
Lotus
Twitter.
is the hardest part. Even a beat to
Yeah.
shit one, I think at this point is, and Mox is that's expensive even for beat up ones.
Yeah, I think I didn't realize how expensive it would be even to get like a heavy played copy
Yeah.
until just the other day when I was following some guy on Twitter who buys and sells Magic cards all the time. And he'll purchase things and then post it on Twitter and say, "Who wants to buy this price? First come first serve." He posted a mock Sapphire for 2,900. It was heavy, heavy play,
Heavy.
like beyond what I would call heavy
Run
play.
over by a car,
Yeah, heavy
soaked
play
in water,
to the point where,
damaged.
like, if I'm buying it as a collectible, I don't even want it.
Yeah, it's damaged.
It's damaged. It was gone. It was claimed in like 15 minutes.
I don't want that. I don't want that card like that because it's I don't know. In my mind, in my old school mentality, that is not tournament legal. Even if today,
It is,
because
yeah,
of
it is.
opaque sleeves, they let you play certain
They
things,
do,
I'm
yeah,
still thinking, it's like they could change that. I don't know, maybe whatever, but I don't know. It just makes me so uneasy to have a card that's that beat up that it
yeah,
could be, misshapen, and even then in the opaque sleeves, then it could be tournament illegal because it's like warped and it
yeah.
doesn't fit in the deck right. That's how I feel. I
I don't
don't know.
know. I don't know what people want. I mean, my,
It
my, my
sucks.
assumption
The
was the only
card.
people that would want it are people who do play old school tournaments. And it's like you can't run proxy. So you
Right.
have to have a copy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
You
yeah. They're
have to have a
definitely
real copy.
buying those for functional reasons,
Yeah.
right?
Anyways,
Oh
that
well.
was a long, well, I don't know why.
Well, we talked about some other thing. We can go off topic.
We went on that tangent. I don't know why I
We're
started
talking
that
about
tangent.
we're talking about magic. Hey, we're doing a good job.
Soul Devi Excavations.
Yeah,
That's how
that
we got
was
there. Buyout.
uh, the card I bought. I haven't purchased a card in a while. But I bought Sinkhole this week because I saw that it had dropped a little bit, I think, and I wanted one for a while, and I like it. And I was looking at the other printings of it. It's
I always forget
only
there were
been
other
what
printings. I always
the
forget there were other
only
printings.
the only thing it's been reprinted in after Unlimited was Eternal Masters as a rare. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's not a mythic in there, but it's a master set. And it was a judge promo. And I don't know, that doesn't ever affect the value of cards usually. So the
Yeah.
question is, will they reprint it again soon or ever? Um,
What is a judge promo again? They only give it to judges at certain tournaments. Is that what that
yes,
is?
yeah.
Collector's edition too. It's printed.
Judges, maybe other people who aren't technically judges who help out at the tournament, but I think pretty much just judges. Um, the Masters one is not expensive. It's only a couple bucks.
I don't even know what that is. Oh, the Eternal Masters.
Yeah, yeah.
I was looking at this. I saw this image the other day, and I was like, "What is this set even from? What is Eternal Masters? What are the print runs on that? Is it like a legit set? Was it something that was printed in high numbers that people actually purchased?
I mean, they definitely vary, but my understanding is that all the master sets are fairly low print runs. They're limited print runs, short time, less than,
Yeah,
you know, only a few months, less than a year.
yeah, and that one's it's half the price of the unlimited one.
Oh,
Uh,
less even, I think $6 or something. It's pretty
I,
cheap.
I just clicked on Eternal Masters on MTG stocks. I'm looking sorted by market price, and it's like the most expensive cards from that set right now are Mana Crypt and Force of Will. The Force of Will Eternal Masters market price is $107. That's like
Um,
I bought an Alliance Force of Will for like 80 something just a
huh.
month ago.
I don't know. People
Two
like
of
the
them.
artwork on that one more, really, or
Well,
something.
I might be wrong. I might have no, I feel so if I include taxes and everything, it cost me about $100. Taxes and shipping. But all that to say, this Eternal Masters version was definitely not cheaper than what I got the First Will for. Also, those were eBay prices too. eBay prices are usually cheaper, at least for the expensive stuff, than the prices that I see on MTG stocks. So
I'm not sure. I think maybe people just like the artwork on that one or something because
that's
it
what I thought
does seem
too. And I
like it's
clicked on it, but it does not look cool. I mean, compared to the original Force of Will artwork, which is badass as hell.
yeah.
Yeah, no, even the market price for the original Alliances on MTG stocks, 108. The Eternal Masters version, worse artwork, not the original printing, $107.
Yeah, on TCG Player, yeah, it says they're about $1 apart or something.
Man, people are
Um,
widening out. You can't be
Now the
buying.
Double
You can't be
Masters
buying that
version
for.
that just came out is more. It's like twice that.
Is it a borderless or something?
It is borderless, yeah. And I don't think the artwork thing is anything crazy, but it does look good with the borderless treatment. I like those cards. That's my preference. I know we're cantankerous old border folks,
This
but
is crazy. This is crazy talk, Alex.
I know. I like the borderless cards. They're not bad.
I'm not.
Compared to the shitty new bordered cards.
Yes,
I like them more than that.
yes. There are several borderless cards that I've seen that I really like. I mean, if it has really great art,
Yeah, it can work.
it's I was gonna say the art is almost featured better on those cards, which is a little bit strange to say because it's like, oh, does a fantastic painting on the wall look better without a frame? And I think of the border of the card as a frame.
Maybe, maybe.
But in some cases, I've seen some that actually do like they do look better for some
Right,
reason.
that's an interesting point.
So
Yeah,
so I think it's going to be
they.
card specific, artwork specific.
Yeah, I
There was
agree. For me,
one
yeah, for
one
us.
borderless card I saw. It was a newer card, so I can't. I'm having trouble remembering what it was, but it was a land that you like tapped and it gave your opponent a 1/1 sapperling or something.
Okay.
And the artwork for that borderless version was super cool. I wish I could remember what it was. I'm gonna Google. I'm gonna I'm gonna Google give your opponent a 1/1 sapperling token. How many different things can come up if I Google that?
Yeah. While you're Googling that, that reminded me of Reflecting Pool, which
Oh yeah.
the newest borderless one is hanging steady at about $10, which I think is kind of low. Like it's a very reasonable price for that card when the older ones are more. The Tempest one has dropped. For a while, it looked like it didn't drop, but I think maybe that's because there just weren't a whole lot for sale, and I was not seeing the ones that came up and sold for a lower price. But when I looked at the
Mm-hmm.
sales history, there have been going from like $35, it's been up and down, and there have been reflecting pools selling for between 20 or 25 and 35 back and forth over the last like 2 months. But now it's kind of down into the 20s. So it does look like it's finally kind of come down in response to that reprinting.
I couldn't wait. I bought my playset.
What did you buy? What did you pay for them?
I
Like
don't
35,
remember.
30?
I had one already,
I'm just wondering.
and I do not think that I paid 35 at all for any of them.
Okay. Because yeah, I
Uh,
think they were available for less than that. It's been, I don't know, it's weird history to look at. I'm trying to figure it out.
if I were to just say off the top of my head, I think I paid 27 for them. I'm pulling up my orders now.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah.
But sometimes I'm not correct about how much I paid for a card.
Right.
I was
I
there have been
love the
several times where
TCG
I'm
player
like, oh,
feature history like
I got
that, so
this
you can look
cheap,
it up.
and then I look it up and I'm like, I didn't buy it for as cheap as I
So
thought I would.
what did you find when you were Googling just now?
Nothing. I couldn't
Oh,
find the
okay.
card.
All right.
Oh, reflecting pool near mint, and it did arrive near mint. I purchased it for 22.99.
Nice. Okay,
Was the
cool.
last one I
Good.
purchased, and
Yeah.
then before that, probably a month before that, I bought another one.
Maybe it was just reliably around 25 and I'm misremembering because I see some at 35. I don't know. It's hard to keep all this shit straight when we're old.
Well, what would happen is a lot of these cards, I'll go on TCG Player, and I sort by near mint, and then I start at the lowest price. Every once in a while, there's somebody who doesn't have a lot of sales
Yeah.
or who isn't like a direct partner yet.
Yes.
They'll
Maybe
they'll
you ignore
they'll
those.
yeah, they'll just put
Yeah.
one up for like $5 less than the
Yeah.
other one,
Yeah.
the
Yeah. So
next
you can't really
cheapest one.
take that into consideration, I feel like, when
Yeah,
you're.
so I usually snag those. Yeah, and the one I bought before was 22.98.
Oh, you're just talking about like going for those to purchase them. I see.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I do too sometimes as well. If I can get some good info from their reviews, like if they have some reviews that are condition based and not like it was delivered fast, like I don't care about that. Like
Yeah.
I want to read at least a couple comments that are like cards looked great or they were in great condition, then I'll be like, okay, I'll buy it from the new seller.
Yeah, I've had fairly good. I'm sending two cards back tomorrow. They're the first things that I've sent back from
Oh,
TCG Player.
you
But
told me about those already, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
they were two lands that
Yeah.
arrived in much worse condition than near mint.
Gotcha.
And but I usually look when this is small sellers, I'll look for they got to have 100%.
Yeah,
If they don't have 100%,
for sure.
I ignore
For
them.
sure.
And if they have at least 100 sales, sometimes I'll look around to see what cards they're selling. I'm like, okay, it's just some person who's decided to start moving his
Tell them they're
collection.
set. Yeah.
So, if he's had 100, he or she has had 100 successful transactions already, and it's just some person like selling some stuff out of there. a garage or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's good. Good enough.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good enough.
And I've had a couple of people like that that I've messaged and been like, you know, thanks, I'll definitely buy from you again. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm just selling off my stuff. It'll be gone, when it's gone, I'm done. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
darn. Um, I can talk about a couple dips. I saw some dips. Most of them
What
are
be dipping, Alex?
it's dipping.
What be dipping?
It's dipping. Um, most of the stuff isn't a big deal, just a couple bucks, but I feel like it's, starting to show a trend of things kind of edging down that have either been sitting steady or were, as we feel, overpriced because, we all know there was a big spike during the pandemic.
A crack in the market.
Yeah, yeah, things are correcting still, and certain things that I've been watching and waiting for are showing a little bit of movement. Jovial Evil, for some reason, I keep watching that card. It was been like $65. It's crept down like $3 or
You
something
want
like
it.
that.
You want it
But there's
bad.
like one guy that has 8 of them for sale, all near mint. Okay. And then I saw one sold for $50 last week near mint. So I think that's a card that maybe, just comparing relatively to other Legends rares, is maybe just like out in the market more in good condition. I've
Hmm.
seen a few of them in card shops where there's like, 2 or 3 of them in the sleeve together in the case.
Yeah,
So
it probably didn't get as much play because it's very color. It's a color hate card. It's very
yeah,
specific
yeah, yeah,
sideboard type card.
yeah. So I think that card is definitely going to come down. It seems like there's a lot of them out there. Certain cards you look up, there's just a few listings. Abeyance is down a couple bucks. You can get
Good,
one that looks like about $14.
good because I
A
need a play
lot.
set. I
Huh?
need a play set.
I think
Oh,
I have 3 now.
I have
And
one, and I have
great
one
card.
on the way.
I think,
Uh, and there was a podcast that I was listening to. They were talking about Premodern tournament, LobsterCon. One of the guys was talking about abeyance. I guess it was a big part of his deck. And I Googled this guy. He's like a famous old school player, Flores or something. Anyways, I'll talk more about some of the things I'm learning from this podcast in a later episode. But he mentioned at some point a buyout of abeyance, and I was like, "You son of a bitch!
don't do it.
Don't
Where are
do
those?
that to me.
I need those.
Don't you
I need
start
those.
yet
I
with
need
the
to more of those.
buyouts of these pre-modern cards. I need.
Thank God no one's listening to us yet.
I know. Don't
Really
do it.
good.
Don't do it, Flores. Wait. Just wait like 6 months.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But yeah, I mean, it's down a few bucks. If you can pick up Abeyances right now for $14, I feel like that's just
I
it's
know.
good. Good.
I found out when I also found out Orm's Chant. I found out about Orm's Chant, which is an abeyance like
Okay. Yeah, that's a good
card.
card. Was that the one that's like about 15 or $20 or
I
something?
think it's probably around that
There's a few
price.
Orms cards,
From a
and
later set, plane shift, current market price about $20.
okay, yeah,
Target player can't
good
play
card.
spells this turn, so it's just one white instead of one white and one colorless.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a
Uh,
good card.
More powerful in its direct effect than abeyance, but it doesn't give you a card draw. So
Yeah,
you know.
and a
Anyways,
few dollars more.
I'm just building I'm building an all white deck where I just run abeyances, Orm's Chance, and Bosium strips, and I don't do anything to my
Sounds
opponent, but
annoying as shit.
I just play cards that prevent them from doing anything also.
I
And
was
then I'm
thinking
just
about
like,
making a black-white control deck, and instead of countering, running like things like that, like Abeyance and Disenchant, and I forget what other cards I was thinking about now because I'm blanking. But
Geodorn Outpost to make a 1/1
why,
soldier
why
every
would
turn,
blast
and then
too?
Circle of Despair where you just sacrifice that soldier every turn to prevent all damage done to you.
There you go. There you go. Um, yeah, don't leave me get sidetracked. I'll go back to my dipping card so I can finish up and let you talk about your
Okay,
pre-moderns.
Dippin.
Dipping. I've been watching Fork just because I everyone needs a fork. Uh, Mine got stolen, Steve. Did you know that?
Never heard that story before, Alex.
I lost that fork. It's gone in the river. Uh, it's been about $50 or 45.
Damn, it is.
Huh?
Revised $50.
Yeah. It seems like it's down to about 45 now. I'm having a hard time seeing it going much lower than that. Fork's not going to drop below 40, right? Maybe I'll get lucky and I'll get one for 42. I feel like I
Probably
should
not.
pounce
Yeah.
at 45.
I don't know. I mean, if we go into a deep recession and half the United States loses
True.
their job, it might go down to 20.
True. But then
Yeah.
I can get like
But then you probably won't have a job either, and you won't be
boxes
able
and
to buy
stuff
the
maybe
fork. That's the
for a
problem.
couple $100.
That is true. Maybe.
If it's that bad, I'll probably stop caring about forks so much. Maybe I should just like, I don't know, hedge my bets and get it now for 45.
There are still some revised cards that I want, but now I'm thinking since I'm priced out of old school and I'm now currently obsessed with pre-modern, it's like when it comes to cards like fork, I can't fucking play it. I
I
can't
know you're right. You have to find, it's hard to find a format to put some of these cards into. I agree. It's like now you have to justify purchases based on format.
because
The other thing,
in the format we can play fork in,
yeah, it's very
we get
expensive.
fucked
Yeah, you get
by
fucked.
people playing a bunch of
You
cards
get
that we
fucked.
can't afford.
You get fucked in that format.
We can't build a we can't
Drive
build
me.
a not even can we you can't build like a I don't care about tournaments. I'm not going to be winning any tournaments anytime soon, but you can't even build like a deck that wins sometime in casual play against people who have those cards. You
Well, I
know,
think maybe this is my optimism, and I don't know because we've been away from this for so long, but I'm hoping that the way Commander has taken off, that maybe there will be a little more flexibility moving forward in formats because of these prices. People will want to make new formats where they can play cheap legends and antiquities cards and revised cards, but not the expensive ones.
yeah,
It's not that hard to do casually and locally. Uh,
yeah, that's true.
you know,
There are definitely like casual formats that exist where there's just no power
yeah.
formats. Some other formats that I've heard about but
You
just
have a
don't
good play
remember.
group, you can definitely work that out amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
Like uh,
I just don't know any people though.
yeah, I know
No,
we don't.
I don't have a play group yet. Need to
No play
develop a play
groups.
group.
Oh, I have a few more of these dips. I'm gonna go through them real quick.
Yeah, Fork's gone down. I mean, I mean, lots of
Couple
things have gone
bucks.
down, but
Yeah,
when I'm thinking about this time in 2021, almost halved
what was
last year.
$100? Yeah.
It was approaching 100 bucks. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, Miri's Guile, which we both have talked about before and it had a mini spike like a month or two ago. It was like 35, went up to like 45 or something, and now
Somebody
it's
doing things.
back down to 35. It's like recovered from a mini spike
Somebody doing
after the
things.
pandemic spike. So it's maybe in back to an okay position to buy. Uh, Avenging Angel has taken a hit rightfully because it should not be worth $15, and now it's like back down to 10. It had a spike and
Imagine Angel.
not that great of a card, but I still sort of want one just because it's an angel.
I'm very into angels lately.
I'd love it if it was $6 or $7, but I'm pretty sure it's reserved list and it's
Oh, is it
people
really?
tried to buy it and it's gone like 10 to 15.
Alex, we could have bought it for 67 cents in 2020.
I know. So many other cards. Uh on that topic, Heaven's Gate. Now is the time to buy Heaven's Gate. I declare it.
One of my
Uh
favorite cults. That's a top 10. That's a top 5 cult from my childhood.
top five cult.
Top 3, really.
I thought about that as soon as I looked at that today. I was like, that's the cult. Um, on MTG stocks on the graph, I don't know if this is bad data
That's weird.
or whatever, but there is a crazy spike where it went up to like $100 or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know why that happens sometimes. And it's just the blue. It's just the blue line.
So, I mean,
It will go
sometimes
up
it's just
fucking crazy.
kind of killing
There's
me.
this blue line's average, the light, the dark blue line's average, the light blue's market. And
Yeah,
every once in a
it could
while,
just be bad data. There could have been so few for sale that someone was posting them and trying to gouge, and they posted a crazy and no one even bought it. I don't know.
but what's the difference again between the market and the average price here? Because every once in a while, the average line will have a crazy spike like that, but the market price won't. So
I get them confused and mixed up, but it could be the one could be what people are posting them for, which would
that's what I
explain
thought.
some spikes. Yeah.
So I assumed that the average would be what they're posted for, and the market would be what it's actually selling for. So in cases like that, where I see just the dark blue line shoot up like that, but the light blue line does not, I'm assuming somebody's asking, or maybe more than one person is asking, uh, a significantly higher price for the card at that moment than people are willing to pay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think the card's worth $100 by any means. It's some crazy anomaly there, but it's just interesting. It makes you pay attention, and it might make other people pay attention and see that. And
Yeah.
it's only a couple bucks now. It's gone back down to $5 or $6 or whatever. It's not a good card. I mean,
No, I was gonna say I don't know if I do anything with this card ever.
the only good thing about it is that it can affect multiple targets. So if you have some sort of color directed combo that you're doing,
Yeah.
you can affect multiple cards with it. So yeah, but and it's an old Legends card.
Tap maintain. Legends uncommon.
I mostly just want to talk about it because of that weird spike. And I saw it on the MTG stocks. They have like the weekly winners and losers
Uh-huh.
page. I noticed it on there.
Was this
Um,
a winner or a loser?
well, loser because it's gone
Because
down.
it's come down. Okay.
Yeah. Um,
Which
okay.
should be a loser.
Speaking of which, Library of Alexandria down 30%
Are you
from
serious?
$7,000 to $4,800.
Oh my God. I didn't think you were going to say that much money. For some reason, in my head, even though it's super expensive, it was $2,000.
Yeah, yeah,
4,000? Where?
I, yeah.
Oh, again, that's the average price. So the
Again, yeah,
market on MTG
this
stocks
is
is way
poor
lower.
data with these expensive cards. They sometimes have these big changes week to week, and it's just because there's only a few of them for sale, and
Yeah.
most of them aren't selling. And some when one sells, all of a sudden it changes the price dramatically. So I just brought that up as a joke.
If these two lines mean what they think I mean, which the dark blue is what people are posting for on the sites that MTG stocks is pulling data from, and the light blue line is what people are paying for. If these two lines are what I think they are, this makes me feel good. It makes me feel, it shows that like people are trying to get 10,000, 8,000, 5,000 for their libraries, and people are just like,
But I'm not
I'm
getting
not
it.
paying that much.
Yeah, I agree for sure. That spike was crazy. This stuff is not, there's a
Yeah.
bubble.
And I've looked for libraries. I've just looked at them, libraries and moats and abysses here and there over the past couple months on eBay. They do seem to be going. I mean, they'll go for 2 grand. But yeah,
Um,
like this asking 7 grand, 6 grand, 5 grand for them. That's not happening.
Also, I'm not sure how they take into account graded
Grading.
cards.
That's the other thing I was going
Uh,
to say too. Like how many of these are,
I
because
mean,
it's
some of them
a
are
BGS
lightly played.
9.5
They
in a
factor
slab.
that in, but I'm not sure how the graded works either. So
Yeah.
you take all of it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, the
Tibbets'
graded.
scale went back down a little bit, rightfully so. Even though I have a couple of him and like him, but he experienced that dragon hype spike a little bit, and he's back down a couple bucks.
Oh, Hivis.
Yeah,
Hivis of the scale.
it was at the scale.
Yeah, it's still like $10.
Yeah,
I wonder what's going to happen to Zeralon. I don't know.
he'll drop two. I think he again not that great, a little better than Hivis.
Not that great, but like it is very cool.
Yeah, again,
The
fun. I'd put it in a casual, fun deck for sure. Like I have a buddy, who plays some dragons,
people
and I'm
will
like,
never stop enjoying playing casual, goofy dragon decks.
well, that's Hivis, but
This guy. Does anybody else have this same effect?
I don't think
Search your
so.
library for a dragon card and put. There is another card. I think it's an invasion or something. It has an effect like this, but for legends. So I guess you could do this with legend dragons, like
Oh yeah,
legendary dragons.
yeah, that makes sense.
I
And the
need to
one
buy.
guy I
I
brought
need to
up
buy some of those
before,
before she spikes.
Dragon Speaker Shaman, he reduces the casting cost of dragons, and I
Uh,
think that's fun. I think that's $3 or $4, and you
ooh,
could throw that into a dragon deck.
ooh.
Pull tutor dragons to your hand, bring them out for a lower cost.
Sarkhan the Dragon Speaker? No, Dragon Speaker Shaman.
Yeah.
Sarkhan the Dragon Speaker is from a terrible new frame set.
New frame. We never really explained to people, I don't think, in the first episode. We're old grumpy men who hate new frame
We
cards.
don't explain things to people.
Okay, well they'll figure it out.
I think I have something in the about section on our YouTube page. I think. Dragon Speaker Shaman, one color, those two red. Scourge. This is the last of the sets that we're
Yeah,
allowed to play with.
just barely under the wire.
Yeah, dragon spells you play cost 2 colorless less to
I
play.
don't love his
Tier two.
casting cost, but you know,
It's okay.
it's okay.
I'm barbarian.
He's a
If I ever want
barbarian.
I want to ever want to build a
You
barbarian
can go into
dragon.
my barbarian
Okay.
dragon deck.
Exactly. I mean, listen, what else deserves a spot over this in your barbarian dragon deck
Nothing. That would
other
be the
than
top pick.
barbarians and dragons?
I can't think of a better barbarian for my barbarian dragon
Yeah. I mean the list is short.
deck. um, I didn't want to mention this because it's my one of my top picks to buy. I don't want other people to buy it, but no one listens to us yet. Suchi has finally dropped a few dollars, under a
Really?
hundred finally,
Hmm.
$90 for a Suchi I can get from like MTG Seattle, $92 or something, and I know it'll be nice.
I wonder what's going to happen. I never thought about Suchi at all, but now
Neither did I.
when I browse old school deck lists, there are so many of them that are incredibly artifact heavy, and
Mhm.
all of those artifact based old school decks run like four Suchi. It's like four Suchi Triskelions copy artifacts. I don't know. This became like a huge deck archetype in the
I
old school world.
remember thinking it was not that good back in the day. Like I thought the artwork was interesting. I was like, oh, that's kind of a neat card that I'd like to have, but it would be like a BJ card to buy, uh,
Yeah.
uh, like a card that is sort of fun and interesting and cool, but like, kind of a waste of money.
I mean, for all I know, it's always been popular in like the competitive old school formats, but we were 13 and
Maybe,
nobody owned more than two antiquities cards, and
yeah, it
we
might
were
have
just
just been better
playing
than we thought, and we
you're
didn't
playing
know.
Shivan Dragons and not Suchis, so it's
Yeah.
possible that it was always a thing. It's also possible that sometime in the last 20 years, people learned to do things with it that they didn't think about
I
beforehand.
think that's part of it. I think it's become, it's comboed up with other things. So what do you think? Should I buy that card? Should I pounce on that?
I
I
don't
don't
even know
really
what
want to
people do
spend
with
90
it.
bucks on it.
Is it
I
in a
would put
weird
it in a sweet sacrifice deck with culling of the week. And
That's what I'm trying to think. Do people use it? And so I can't remember what else I see in those decks other than Triskelions or Suchis. Do the people use it in some sort of recursion decks, or is it just that they're like, hey, I get a 4/4 creature. If somebody takes it out, if it dies, I get four colorless mana, so that's four I can put into casting my Triskelion or some other thing. It's like I don't know what they
yeah,
do with
I'm
it.
not sure exactly still how to use it, but yeah, I don't know. I just like it and it's old.
I don't think it's a bad card to buy. It's become at least an iconic card from Antiquities,
Mm,
which is probably going to get more popular uh, after the brothers war coming up or some shit.
yeah.
Urza Mishra.
Maybe but going back, I was going to mention that for Sinkhole, possibility like that's a theme I think that could fit. Like Sinkhole could fit into a brothers war theme about, the land being destroyed and, you know, you know, having this devastating war. I don't know if they want to reprint Sinkhole just because of what it does and how it affects the game, but it could fit into the flavor of the set.
I don't know anything about the brothers war. Did somebody destroy the
Neither do
land?
I, but
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's about Urza versus Mishra, and it's a throwback to this whole idea of like them finding this old technology and using it to fight each other, and everything is getting destroyed and fucked up, and the
Hmm.
land's getting trashed. And they did that in alliances too, kind of all the Phyrexian stuff. I guess all the Phyrexian stuff's gone through other sets too, so it's kind of the
There's a lot of weird like mythology that I know nothing about.
yeah. They read
That
books and shit that
underlie,
do not
yeah,
need
that's
to
that's
know.
what I've learned. There's all these books. I started watching some video about invasion the other day because I was like, "What's about invasion about?" And they're like, "The weather light comes back, then the Phyrexian gate opens." I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's
Yeah.
going on.
Well, yeah, there's a whole story through the whole Weatherlight block about, them, these dudes taking that ship and they're
People
going
on an
into
airship.
the,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're on a
yeah,
ship.
yeah. They're on a
That's
ship
all
and
I know.
they're going into the bad place to like rescue someone and like I think and like so that's why it like I forget the way it goes. It's what are those sets called? Damn it, I have to look it up now to see the order that they're in.
The blocks? Are you just talking about
Yeah,
blocks?
yeah, the order of the
Weatherlight was a block. It was the first, wasn't it? The main set in a block? No. Was that Tempest? It was Mirage block. Was it Mirage Vision's Weatherlight?
Mirage. Yes. Uh, Mirage Visions Weatherlight. Because so what like Weatherlight kind of started the idea there, and then
Which it seemed, I remember. So that's kind of when
okay,
I stopped playing
so
around
like
Weatherlight, but it didn't seem like that fit with Mirage and Visions. It was a
no,
weird thing
not
to
too
end the
much. You're
block
right.
with.
Yeah, you're right. So Tempest Stronghold Exodus. In Tempest, they go into the stronghold, and then in Exodus they leave the stronghold. That's basically it. They're going into the bad place. It's like what Volrath and
Volrath is a person
yeah.
or a demon creature or
I
something.
think
I don't
does
remember.
Volrath have a boss? There's another guy too. One of them's the boss, the other one, I think. And uh so they go in there and like fight them and then they leave. That's the deal.
Let me Google who is Volrath's boss.
That's a great Google. Or who is Volrath the boss of?
Oh, it doesn't tell me. It says Volrath, born as Vuel, was a human from Dominaria who later became the shape-shifting and Phyrexianized leader of Wrath.
Yeah,
You can
okay.
become
Okay, so they
Phyrexianized.
go into Wrath. I
Oh,
think that's
Jesus.
kind of where the stronghold is, or whatever.
Oh, is that where Volrath's stronghold is?
Uh, oh, I think maybe Yawgmoth is his boss, and then like Gerard or Gerard or whatever the fucking Stark. It was like those dudes, you know. That's basically it. That's basically it.
Vuel was born as the son of
Fill
Sidar
in the blank.
Kondo within a northern within a North Jamuran clan war when the young Gerard Capashen was accepted into his family. I don't even know these words that I'm saying. I'm pronouncing everything incorrectly. Man, that's a lot. I don't know what's going on here, man.
Yeah.
I just like slinging cardboard.
Too old for this shit.
Okay, so you got your dips. You got some of your dips. You
Yeah.
got your sinkhole.
Mhm.
You're eyeing that Suchi.
I want to buy one other thing. I want to buy, and this is just dumb. This is just like a uh, uh, personal flavor purchase. Is
Suchi was like $60
ah
in late 2018. If you can get it for like, I don't know that it's going to go back to $60 again. So like,
no.
if you can get it for like 80 or something, you just want one.
I
I'm like,
feel
might
like
as well buy.
60 or 80 bucks is kind of where it should be, like
How many do you want?
according
How many
to what the
Suchis do
card
you
does.
want, Alex?
That's the thing. That's the
Do
thing.
you
Yeah.
want? Do you
It's
want?
not really a kind of card that you're like, oh, I have one Suchi, awesome. Like you could definitely be rocking three or four of them.
Well, I know. So
It's
cards
just
when I
new.
want when I'm like I want to play set. This is how I justify buying, even though I think it might be a little bit of a price. I'm just like, you just buy the first one. You
Yeah.
just buy the first one, and
Yeah. Just worry about
then
the
you
first one.
average you dollar cost average in as it continues to drop, and then by the end you're like, I got
Yeah.
four Suchis for
An
an average of
average.
$75. I'm gonna hold on to it for 75 years until I die at the age of
Uh-huh.
132.
I'll trade it for an oxygen machine when I'm 90,
Exactly.
and it'll be great.
That's not the worst. It's not the worst investment.
Um, this is not our kind of stuff, I know.
Do I
But
need to stop? Do I need to stop the recording right now?
no,
Why are
no,
we
no,
talking
no,
about
no,
this?
no, no, no. This
Okay,
is no, just, I mean, because it's new. It's not
I knew what you meant.
our
What is this
good old stuff.
garbage?
Yeah, it's garbage. Uh, they have a secret lair. You know what secret lairs are, right? Like now they're like uh, these kind of like mini things that they produce and send out, and they have flavor. They're like
I don't entirely know what it was. I clicked
flavor.
on a Jake and Joel Our Magic video yesterday.
It's like crossovers.
It was like what I bought video, and he bought secret layers. So I just out of the corner of my eye when I was doing some other things, watched him open like three secret layers, and they were like all packaged all fancy.
Yeah.
and each one contained, I don't know how many, five or
Not many
10,
cards.
probably like five
And it's not
cards.
random. You get the whole thing. There's
Okay.
just not many to it. It's like it's this the whole secret layer is like 6 or 12 cards or something, and you
Okay.
get the whole thing when you buy it.
I feel like there were 5 or 10 cards when we looked through. They all looked fancy. They were all borderless,
There's
fancy art.
special treatments.
And then at the back of each pack was like some special thing. It was like a
Oh,
foil thing. And in each case it was a sliver. And I was just
okay. That's some kind of like box topper or something. I don't know anything
yeah.
like that.
I don't
But
get the
I know
slivers.
there's a sliver secret layer. I think now they just came out with it, so now people are talking about slivers going up. Maybe
I can't stand slivers. I don't know what
I
it is,
know
but I
it's
think it's
just
just the
but I
name.
never want to make a sliver deck.
No.
And you know, like saying it. I'm like,
What's wrong
oh,
with you? Why would anybody make a sliver deck? Why is Sliver Queen $200? Who plays with this bullshit?
it's bullshit to me.
That's how I feel. So if I
But
bought Secret Layers and actually he bought 3 of them, and 2 of them had the same, at least 2 of them had the same exact sliver on the back, like as the fancy card, as the fancy card.
oh,
What the hell, man? I'm not buying any kind of special thing where the premier card in that pack is a fucking sliver of any type.
no, slivers. Thumbs down.
I am old frame,
Full frame
pre-modern, minus sliver.
minus sliver.
I play no slivers.
Well, the one I wanted to buy, not to play with by any, because it's new, but I
Just to
think the
stare at, just to
crossover and the
fondle,
art, just like as yeah, just a little shelf thing. There is a Street Fighter secret lair.
just to put on your pillow next to you when you
Yeah,
go to bed.
just to snuggle with it.
Yeah.
Uh, there's
Street Fighter?
there's a Street Fighter secret lair, and the
What?
cards are literally Street Fighter characters. They're creatures, and it's like Blanca and E Honda and
So it's
Ryu.
not a real magic card. It's like a fun little crossover art piece that they've done
Yeah,
essentially.
but it is a real magic card. I mean,
Really?
it has a casting cost and like a I don't know where it's legal. I don't know what you
Yeah.
can play it in if there's any sort of format where it's legal, but I don't care. I just think they're cool.
It's kind of funny. Kind
Yeah,
of fun.
yeah, that's all. And they it came out and I guess it's been selling for like $80. Some of the cards in it were worth like 20 or 10 or 15. I forget how many cards exactly are in it, 10 cards or something. I saw it online for like 80 something, and it just dipped this week because people started getting their shipments of it. They had
Hmm.
pre-ordered it and bought it and started coming in, and now it's selling for like 60 or less. And yeah, that's getting down closer to the retail price. It was a pre-order thing, it's gone and you can't get it anymore. I think they were selling it for like 40 or something or 45. And yeah, you can't get it at that anymore. Now people are reselling it for like an inflated price.
Hmm.
But anyways,
So do you want to buy that, or do you want to buy a deranged hermit? That's what I can get a deranged hermit for. That's what I've
you
been
get a lot
eyeing.
of other things for $60 too.
I know.
It would be better. That'd probably be better.
Then a deranged hermit? I don't
I
know,
get a
Alex.
Pendlehaven and something else. I could get pretty close to getting a Gate to Phyrexia.
Deranged hermit reserve list. How many? It's the only reserve list hermit.
The only reserve list hermit. All right.
Maybe. Okay.
Well, do you want to tell me about pre-modern cards?
Yeah, you want to hear about?
Yeah.
You want to start begin my
Yeah. I
segment?
got some of those dryads, two of those dryads from last week.
Me?
I did.
You did too? Oh wow.
I
Okay.
purchased two of them.
Full disclosure, we did an episode. Full disclosure, uh, we did an episode featuring Quirion Dryad. We both now have positions in Quirion Dryad. Full disclosure.
Two of them.
I
One of
got
them is a somewhat dinged up corner. It's a
that's
little.
fucked. I got a playset. I got a playset, bitch. I got a playset now.
I looked at those cards from last week, and I was trying to do a TCG direct order, and none of them were, except for the Dryad, were available on TCG direct for an appropriate price. They were all only available from like individual vendors. So,
Oh yeah. So I do notice that more often when I'm purchasing like cheap cards.
mhm,
You don't see nearly as many direct, like
mhm.
TCG direct partners selling them. I don't know if they just decided it's something about how that system works, just margin wise, it's not worth it unless the
Yeah,
card's like above a certain dollar price. But yeah, most of like, I'd say vast majority of like the dollar, 50 cent, 20 cent things that I buy, they're not they're not TCG Direct.
Hmm.
So, okay. What I'm going to talk about today are more pre-modern creatures, and more pre-modern creatures for under $1. I'm finding so I'm into pre-modern, but I'm also thinking like I would like to play Pauper, at least when I start to build decks. It's going to take me a long time,
And other formats as well.
just pre-modern and Pauper. It's gonna take me a long time to build decks. I don't have
Yeah.
like I'm not, even though pre-modern decks are affordable, still I don't have like, I don't want to drop like a couple grand a month on Magic cards to build like 4 or 5 different types of pre-modern decks or whatever. Uh, but Pauper, I'm like, hey, I can build deck after deck in the
Mhm.
Pauper format. Uh, just try a lot of different things uh, pretty cheaply, and it won't take me like a year to collect all the cards that I need for them. I'm finding, to my surprise, to my pleasant surprise, is what I'm getting to, is that a lot of the pre-modern cards that I'm finding that I think are pretty cool, a lot of them are commons too. So, last week I had a couple of those cheap cards that I talked about that happened to be rares. I think Lightning Angels are rare. Uh, this week there's full crossover between Pauper format and pre-modern format,
Oh
and all of
shit.
the cards I'm going to talk about today, all of these cards under
Whoa.
$1 are also common, so they can be played in pre-modern format or pre-modern Pauper, which doesn't exist yet.
That is
But I'm
value.
going to start that as a uh, as a format that people are going to run
Oh,
pre-modern specific Pauper
your
tournaments.
modern popper.
Exactly. Anyways, first card. Let me share my screen. And when I saw this card, I thought about Uktobia Freet from last week. And I was like, this seems like a pretty good card to me. People talk about it being dog shit, but I think it'd be pretty fun to play. I think it'd be pretty easy to pay that upkeep in like an elf deck when you have a lot of mana elves and shit. Share screen. What I wasn't thinking about is how good is that card relative
Yeah.
to other
Because we're out
cards
of touch. We, you know,
that
we don't know
are
what
the
else
same
is
price and
there.
shit. So this brings me to my first card. Can you see? Can you
Good
see?
Dreadnought. Yep. Blastoderm.
Blastoderm. This brings me to my first card. It is a common from Nemesis, right?
Shit.
And just like Uktobia Freet, it is two colorless
Yeah.
and two green.
But it's five
So
five.
like you could play
Technically.
Uktobia Freet 5/4, or you could play Blastoderm, two colors, two green. So Uktobia, this has downsides to it too, but I think they're much better than the cumulative upkeep of the Efreet. It has fading, which is a new mechanic,
I mean, it's
new to
basically
me.
the same thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it is not. It is kind of
Yeah.
similar. Like the Octavia
Functionally,
Freet, you say, okay, I'm based on the cumulative upkeep. I might only want to pay this cumulative upkeep
yeah,
for
I'm only going to keep it around for about
for
three
three
turns.
towns, so it's
Yeah.
pretty much going to be gone. But this has fading, which new mechanic to me, at least.
Yep, me
Definitely not
too.
new to people who've been playing for a long time.
They're laughing at us, but you know.
But I think that mechanic might have started. Yeah, it was from my notes. I have my show notes, Alex. Fading was a mechanic that was introduced in Nemesis.
All right, all right. Good.
Limits the number of turns a permanent can remain on the battlefield. At the beginning of your upkeep, you remove a fade counter from it. If you can't remove a fade counter, so if it doesn't have a fade counter, you have to
Yeah.
sacrifice the permanent. Uh, Pros: this is big creature, fast to get out. It also has Shroud, which is another mechanic that was new to me, but also not new to me because it existed, but they just
Right.
didn't used to
Just
call it
wasn't called
Shroud.
Strongman. Yeah.
Can't be the target of spells or abilities.
Right.
Uh,
So go ahead.
I was going to say, I see this used a lot in a deck archetype in pre-modern called the Rock, which if you were to ask me what the Rock is, it's not exactly like one specific deck. It's just kind of like a green stompy deck, but also with black discard. So they just tend to be black green decks with black discard spells and big green creatures.
It's right up my alley.
And I don't know if this is actually where it came from, but it's probably true. I saw in a video that they named it The Rock after the
Dwayne
wrestler The
Johnson.
Rock, because what he would do is I didn't watch WWE because it's dog shit. Well, when we were teenagers,
Wait,
but
wait, I was right. I was being an idiot.
yeah, yeah, no, you're right.
Totally, literally,
Dwayne The
The
Rock
Rock.
Johnson.
Yes, I
He
was.
used to apparently go in the ring. He'd be like, "My millions and millions," something about the people watching him or his fans and the
Yeah.
millions. He would say the millions a lot. So this deck usually ran like one big creature, which was the Rock, like some. I think people said they usually use like Phyrexian Plague Lord or something. That was the Rock. And then it also ran Deranged Hermit, which produces a bunch of squirrel creatures, a bunch of
Mhm.
squirrel tokens. So you would have like one big baddie and then other cards that produced like lots of smaller token
Right.
type creatures. So that was your Rock and his millions.
Okay.
That's the idea behind the Rock deck.
It's like a really stretched metaphor to me. Like someone really liked The
Yeah, I
Rock
don't I don't know what was
and
going
wanted
on
to
there.
like name their deck after him.
I had seen plenty of deck lists for the Rock before I saw this video that explained where the name came from. I never once thought of uh Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I also don't think that like
Although big fan, I mean, awesome.
yeah,
Go Dwayne Johnson.
I also don't think a lot of these decks that I was seeing necessarily had like massive token generators. Maybe some of them did run the Hermit. I just didn't even think about it. I'm just like, oh, it's a green stompy deck. It's a green
Mhm.
stompy deck with black discard. That's what it is.
Interesting.
Uh that's about it for Blastoderm.
So I
Duh.
well, what I mean, the shroud effect on him is very strong.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm
but
into it.
the only thing is compared to Octavia Freet, now you can't bounce him back to your hand really, the way you can because you
That
can't
is true.
target him. So you couldn't like bring him back to then bring him back. Uh does does Shroud does Shroud work when it's in the graveyard? Can you target it from the graveyard?
I have no idea.
I think you still
I
can.
would say I would
Too
say
old to
no,
remember.
because it doesn't say can't be the target of spells or abilities when on the
Wow, it's on the
battlefield or anything.
battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I would say no. This is probably something you can't bring from the graveyard, but I don't
Okay,
actually
okay.
know that for a fact.
All right. So different in that way, but I like it.
Good card. I mean, a very popular card when it came out. Still seems like it's a pretty popular card in quite a few decks in pre-modern. Uh, this one past podcast I was listening to with this Flores guy, who I mentioned earlier, I think he specifically brought up Blastoderm at some point, said it was garbage. But I don't know why. Also, this podcast, these people are like tournament players or competitive tournament players, so they probably have different like ideas about what it is it makes a card playable or unplayable. Different standards, I would say. I guarantee you I don't have the same kind of high standards they have because I'm not trying to make top eight in any sort of
Right.
big
Of
tournaments or
course, of
anything.
course. Yeah.
I've never been on the pro tour, never going to play in the pro tour. I'm more than happy to play a Blastoderm. I'm into it. So okay, that was pre-modern creature under $1, number one
Number one.
for the week. Number two, and before I get into number two, I will say that the next four, I'm going to talk about five today. I have four more. They all have another mechanic that was new to me, or they can be used in decks with cards that contain that mechanic in synergistic ways. So the mechanic is the madness mechanic. Have you ever heard of madness, Alex?
No, I don't think so. Madness.
Cards with madness allow you to cast them for an alternative cost when they are discarded. So when you discard a card with madness, uh, it says the card goes into an exile zone instead of the graveyard. Don't
Okay.
forget what that is. Then you may cast it or you may put it in your graveyard.
From exile. Okay.
So it's almost like I guess I would think of it as like a purgatory the way it's been
Yeah. Well, yeah,
described or as thing I was reading.
they changed removed from the game to exile. And then once they had altered that mechanic, then they basically made, they turned removed from the game into a keyword, exiled. So now things can target it, even though normally you couldn't target something that was out of the game. but now you can be like, like you said, some cards specifically say they go into exile and can be played from exile.
Yeah. So these ones can be played. So and usually, the cards with madness, the madness casting cost will be lower than their actual casting cost.
Yeah, yeah.
So the idea is you
If
can
it
use
gets
them.
discarded. Sorry.
Yeah, you can use them to either punish your opponent who's trying to make you discard things. You'll be
Yeah.
like, yeah, fuck you. I'll discard this and I'll cast it for
Yeah.
fewer
Or
mana.
if you have an overflowing hand deck, you can,
Overflowing hand
drop
deck,
it
a
in.
draw deck, or play it in conjunction with other things that cause you to discard or that ask you to discard for some reason. It's like, I guess
Right. Yeah.
this wouldn't work with Psychotog because you want to. No, it would work with Psychotog because you discard a card, give it +1/+1.
Mm-hmm.
You just wouldn't want to then remove it from the game to get the extra +1/+1. Pitch it for Psychotog, give the Tog +1/+1, cast it with its madness casting cost. Anyways, madness. These cards will have madness or used sometimes in madness decks. I don't know if people still play madness decks. I don't know if it was just a big thing in like limited constructed formats when it first came out, or if you can still make competitive madness decks or not. But I'm liking some of the cards that I see with this mechanic. So here's one. Seems to be pretty common. Was it played in a lot of decks?
Okay.
I'm seeing some of these cards that I'm pulling up were played at different points in World Championship decks. Basking Rootwalla, 1 green, 1/1. Madness cost of 0. So you basically pay for free if somebody causes you to discard it.
Right.
And it's pumpable. One colorless, 1 green, Basking Rootwalla gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So, I mean, without the madness cost, it's a pretty decent creature. It's a 1 green, 1/1. There's lots of 1-drop, 1/1 creatures, but you can pump this one, so
Yeah.
it's better than your average 1-drop. And on top of that, it has madness. So I
Yeah.
like this card as just like a low power 1-drop quick creature to get out in a green deck that you're playing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I see that.
Pros, pumpable. I like pumpable cards too. Basking Rootwalla. That's number 2. Number 3. This one, when I first saw this, I just saw the picture and I was like, oh, I gotta talk about this. I didn't even know what it did when I first saw it, but it just cracks me up. The art is so good. It's from Mercadian Masks. It's a common. It's Waterfront Bouncer. It's this. I love this art. It's this giant blue guy. He's a spell shape or whatever the fuck that is. He's a 1/1. He's a 1/1 bouncer with, again, awesome art. I'm forgetting to mention the prices, but at the moment of this recording, market average cost for Blastoderm is 14 cents. Basking Rootwalla is 26 cents.
Well, we know they're
Waterfront
under $1.
Waterfront Bouncer, I need to give the exact prices, Alex. Waterfront Bouncer is 0.19 cents. By that I mean 19 cents. I don't know. I don't know why I said 0.19.
$0.19.
19 cents. Shut up, Alex. You don't you're flustering me. I'm allowed to. People want to know. They want to know the exact price.
They
It's not
do.
enough.
You're right. You're
The
absolutely right.
people, they were leaving messages. They're like, I need to know the exact price. Waterfront Bouncer. One colorless, one blue, 1/1. A blue, tap it, discard a card from your hand, return target creature to its owner hand. So it's cool. You could use it if you want to ditch something. It doesn't say random card, so you can use it to pitch a card that has madness and then play that card for its madness cost. You can also
Yeah.
use this in decks that have nothing to do with madness to bounce a card back. It's a boomerang for it's a creature specific boomerang.
Yeah.
So
And you could even boomerang your own creatures with it if you want.
exactly.
Um,
I was like, ooh, here's a creature I could run in this
I
bounce
mean, it
deck that I
works
was
good
thinking
in a
about playing.
reanimation deck or any kind of graveyard manipulation deck.
Exactly.
You can drop creatures you want into your own graveyard to unsummon their creatures, and then your creatures are where you want them to be. I
Yeah,
like that.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, it's a 1/1. Anytime you have a deck that has a 1/1 creature in it that's like gonna do cool shit that synergizes with your other cards or that allows combo,
Uh-huh.
allows you to run combo stuff, it's always it's a target. So somebody's just gonna kill it right away. But who cares? It's fucking fun.
Right, yeah.
It's cheap, and I really like the artwork.
For some reason, it doesn't do nearly the same thing, but for some reason, it reminds me of Talarian and Trancer.
I don't remember. I don't know what that does.
Um,
Let me
he's,
let,
I
let me
think
put.
he's one blue, one, and he's a 1/1. But when you attack with him, you can steal their creatures.
Hmm,
That card that I bought a few of, and then it spiked.
hmm. Full disclosure.
Full disclosure.
I do remember this art.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever 20 turns is blocked by any creature, gain control of that creature at the end of combat. Why is this good? Why would they ever block it? Unless you forced it to block with some. There are
Yeah,
cards that force
you either force them
or
to
some shit.
block, or you put and you use some effect on him where, like, if he gets through, he does something horrible.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I would use them mostly as.
Yeah.
Uh, Pretty cool. Oh, and when I was reading about this, forgot to write it down, but when I was reading about the bouncer, discard a card from your hand, return target creature to its owner's hand. I swear I saw something about this in Gilded Drake, or one of these reserve list cards that's quite expensive. Yeah, this is it. Gilded Drake, $318 market price.
That's crazy.
Reserve list from Urza's Saga. I remember seeing this card the first time being like, why the fuck is this thing so expensive? And
Yeah.
I don't remember
So
why.
weird.
This can be featured
Combo.
on one of our future episodes of why is this card so fucking expensive. Uh, One colorless, one blue, flying. When he comes into play, exchange control of Gilded Drake for a target creature one of your opponent's controls, or sacrifice Gilded Drake. What happens? Oh, okay. So I think people were saying. So this is when. Here's the other thing about Waterfront Bouncer. You can use it with in combination with any enters the battlefield effect. So Gilded Drake, if I'm reading this correctly, essentially has an enter the battlefield effect that when it comes into play, you take a creature from your opponent.
Yeah.
So
It's
it
a
doesn't it
it's a two
doesn't
cat.
say
Blah, blah,
sorry,
ah. Go ahead.
a two casting cost control magic.
Yeah.
It
But it gives
doesn't it doesn't say that when this creature leaves the battlefield, you have to return the
correct.
creature.
Yes, correct.
So, you just
You
bounce
just
it back and you
you
just
just gain control of it. Yeah.
take
And
all
then
their
you can
shit.
use it again.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, Waterfront Bouncer. I like it. I like it probably more than I should,
The
simply because
question
of the
is, how
art.
do you get a gilded drake for a fair price?
You just steal it from somebody.
Because that card shouldn't be worth that much. Like,
You
it's
go,
good, it's cool, but like there are
yeah.
lots of good cards that are worth $300 like that. Come on, like, and it's from Urza's. Like, it's not like it's super rare and old. Come on.
I know what's going on with that. I mean, Urza's cards. There's definitely Urza's cards that are really expensive, but why?
Yes, but
Why? I would like some of these, but why? Why not $100 instead of
that seems to me like, I don't,
318?
maybe this is just because I'm out of touch, but
And this wasn't even just one spike. This was like a couple year run up,
uh-huh. Yeah,
steady run up.
it was yeah, it seems to have some staying power there in the graph. For some reason, this might just be because I wasn't familiar with it and I'm out of touch, but it seems to me kind of like the kind of card you might be able to find misplaced in a box at the wrong price in a store, because like it doesn't seem that good on the face of it. You know what I mean?
We got to start looking.
You might find that in like a bulk rare
We got to go
box
on a cross country
for a
trip.
dollar. That's
Stop at
what I'd like to try.
LGS's in every town
I
and
want
every
to do that. I
city,
want to go shopping some more. Let's go.
and just say we got to take 2 years off of our lives.
I got my $1 maddening imp last month.
Yeah. Anyways, Waterfront Bouncer. Premodern creature under $1, number 4. I'm typing.
Winged mongrel.
Wild Mongrel.
Oh,
For all the listeners out there, I know this is something you really want to know, just so you know, the specific market price at the time of this recording is 20 cents. 20 cents for Wild Mongrel from Odyssey. It is a common from Odyssey, one colorless, one green, 2/2, discard a card from your hand, gets +1/+1, and becomes the color of your choice until end of turn. So again, another madness deck
Yeah.
card.
Or reanimation deck. Yeah.
Or reanimation deck card. Pretty much everything I'm saying, pretty much every card that
Yeah.
I'm thinking of
Or
as like a,
madness and reanimation. Yes.
yeah,
Same.
as a madness card or a psychotog deck card, can also be a reanimation deck card. So just pretty good, solid creature. 2/2 comes out quick, but you can also pump it. And if you have other cards in your deck that you want to discard,
So
you
yeah,
just get the pump as a bonus.
and
It's a reason to pitch a card. If you want to discard a card, you play this. It allows you to discard the card, which you want to do already,
read
and
the
it pumps
quote.
itself.
It
And it pumps
teaches
itself.
you to play dead.
What did you say?
I said the quote at the bottom.
It teaches you to play dead. That is
It
true.
teaches you to play dead. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, it kind of
They're
it teaches
telling me
you how
I
to.
should be
Yeah,
running it in a reanimation deck.
right.
They're telling
Exactly.
me.
It's a hint right there.
I didn't even read that far down on the card. You just pointed that out.
um, the color aspect of it is, it seems like kind of some extra fluff that's not important.
Yeah.
But what I like about that is that the type of deck that it fits into is usually going to be a non-green deck, like a black or blue deck. So if you have some, hate combo or something like that in your black deck, then this works well with that.
All your black creatures get. There's a lot of that in black too. All your
Yeah.
black creatures get blah blah
Yeah, or,
blah.
some kind of card that would like destroy everything but black creatures,
Yeah.
that's a card, but things like that, effects like that.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
Okie
Number
dokie.
4. Now it's from Odyssey. Number 5. Premodern creature under $1. Number 5. This is 10th edition, but that is not the original. I only go to the originals. The originals from
That S
the originals from Exodus.
Exodus. Okay, now we're feeling better.
It is
That's
Merfolk Looter.
yeah.
Merfolk Looter. For the listeners, the market price at the time of this recording for an Exodus printing of Merfolk Looter is 20 cents. It is one colorless, one blue.
What a fair price.
1/1 summon Merfolk. So you can run this in your Merfolk deck. Tap, draw a card, then discard a card. So it's a card draw plus a card discard. It's perfect card draw for Madness deck. It's a perfect card draw for Reanimation deck.
Yeah.
Right? And let you
Yeah.
get through your library a little bit faster and pitch some cards. Everybody wants to draw cards.
Yeah, it lets you,
All
yeah,
the time.
getting into a few turns into the game, you want to make your deck go faster. You want to get those cards drawn and into your hand and into your graveyard and get that
Everybody
cycle.
wants to draw those cards, get those cards in
Everybody
your
wants
hand.
them. Yeah.
So anyways, I thought this was pretty good. Also,
I like
Psychotog
it.
deck. I forgot all these things.
All
Madness,
these things go with cycle.
Reanimation, Psychotog. These are all decks that I want to run.
The right color too. Again, yeah, black, blue, sometimes green.
So those are my 5 creatures for the week.
Great pick, Steve.
Next week I have a different topic, but when I first started looking for pre-modern creatures under $1, I found so many. I have a whole list. This is why I think pre-modern Pauper would be really fun. Like you can put together really really cool decks
Yeah.
for pretty cheap. Actually, you don't even have to be Pauper. Like some of these decks, I don't see why they couldn't occasionally win against more expensive pre-modern decks.
Well, the last few sets of the old border era, I think, have a lot of really fun and strong commons and uncommons. Like you can find a lot of fun, kind of powerful and playable cards in the commons and stuff from those sets. They, just because the power curve went up a little bit
Yeah.
overall. Um, and so I think it's, I'm definitely interested in playing like, block, you know, block play from around that time.
Maybe
Exodus, Urza's Apocalypse, Odyssey, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe pre-modern Pauper.
Maybe pre-modern Pauper.
No, I am coming across cards constantly. Like I've been buying a lot of cards because I keep coming across stuff and I'm like, oh, this is fucking cool. And then it's a common and it's 17 cents.
Yeah,
So I just buy four of them.
right on.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good topic. Okay. Anything else that you would like to talk about in episode two, Alex?
I don't think so. I think we touched on everything.
I think it's a pretty good episode. Hopefully this records. Hopefully I got enough space on my hard drive for
Just to
this.
humor me, look up the Blanca Street Fighter card because I just want to see it on screen.
I guess
I'm
maybe I'll
pretty
just
sure.
Google that because I don't know where else to look for it. I don't know if I could look it up in MTG stocks if I could type in Blanca. Blanca Street Fighter Magic the Gathering, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
I spelled Blanca wrong. Blank.
Once.
I think I see Guile. Was that his
Yeah.
name?
All the way to the left, the first one on the left.
Oh yeah. It just looked all screwy. Blanca Ferocious.
There you go.
Can you see the whole card right now, or are you?
I can. Your
There we
face,
go. Okay.
your image is covering it a little bit,
I
but
just
it's
moved it. Did I
mostly
just
there.
move it? I tried
You
to move
can,
it.
yeah. I can't see the casting cost.
Oh, three colorless, one red, one green. Blanca Ferocious Friend. He's electrocuting somebody. Pretty good art. It's the
Yeah.
new style art, which isn't my
I
favorite,
mean,
but it's a lot
he's
more detailed
definitely
than
like
most of the new
red
stuff.
and green is perfect for him. It
Yeah.
definitely fits the
I mean, he
flavor.
had green skin and red hair. There you go.
Yeah. And but he's like a benevolent forest guy, but he's also like a strong, chaotic beast monster. He's like definitely like a green creature and maybe a red creature.
He's a rolling attack.
Yeah.
Blanca Ferocious Friend has trample as long as you've cast three or more spells this turn. That's a lot of spells to cast on a single turn. Really.
Not
Electric
if you're
Thunder.
giant growth berserking.
That's true. Yeah. This would be super great for my giant
Yeah,
growth
I'm
berserk
telling you,
deck.
this is a cool card.
Yeah. Electric Thunder. Whenever Blanca becomes a target of a spell, he gets +2/+2 until end of turn and deals 2 damage to each
What?
opponent.
Giant growth berserk.
Very good.
Yeah. But I like the flavor of it, like how I keep saying flavor, I'm sorry, listeners. I just like how they made it fit with him, like his old Street Fighter character. Like the card works well. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool, fun card. They have an E Honda card that they have cards for all these
So I'm
Street
trying
Fighter.
to
I think they
pull up
made
these other
12 of
ones.
them, 10 or 12. And I'm not gonna play with these probably ever. I don't see any way I would, but I like the art and I like Street Fighter and I like Magic and it's kind of neat. I don't have money to spend on this.
Zangief, the Red Cyclone,
Yeah.
must be blocked if able. 7/4. Why is he only 4 toughness? Zangief was
I
like
don't know. Yeah,
a
Zingy
brick.
should
He
be
was like a
higher
brick
than
wall.
4 toughness. Yeah.
Somebody made a huge mistake there.
Yeah. He should be
E
like
Honda,
6.
sumo champion. Why is he 0/7? He had like 1,000 fucking
Well, but
arms that he used to
I'm
smash
sure he
cars.
gets something sweet. Like,
As long as it's your turn, each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. 100 hand slap. Whenever E Honda sumo champion
okay,
attacks.
so on your turn, his power is 7.
That's what it sounds like, yeah. 100 hand slap. Whenever E Honda sumo champion attacks, up to 100 target creatures each get +0/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand.
So you can give up to 100 creatures +0/+5.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. Chun-Li lightning kick. Whenever Chun-Li attacks, copy each exiled card you own with a kick counter on it. You may cast the copies. I don't even
Whoa,
understand.
that's broken, dude. That could combo with. There are so many things that go into the exile
What's a
zone
kick
now.
counter though? What are you talking? What? I don't even understand this. Oh, you use her to put a kick counter on things. When Chun-Li enters the battlefield, exile up to X target instant cards from your graveyard.
What?
So what do I got to do? I got to
It's
play
so
Chun-Li in a
complicated.
blue-white deck with a bunch of like Impulse, Brainstorm, any blue instant I can think of. Fill my graveyard with them. Play Chun-Li, and then I exile all the instant cards from my graveyard, where X is the number of times Chun-Li was kicked. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's too late in the episode for me to decipher
Too
what's
late
going
in the
on in
episode.
this
We're
card.
tired now. We can't decipher Chun-Li. That is a combo though for
Something.
cards that you put in your. If you can put like a fatty into your exile zone and then cast it from there.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta
So
think
if
about
you
this
have
one more.
multiple cards in your exile zone, you can attack with her, and then you can copy all of those cards
You may cast the copies.
and you can cast them.
Cast them without playing them? Is that what, like without paying the mana
No, I
cost?
think you still have to pay it.
So you really can't cast that many then.
Probably not.
Somebody needs to figure this card out for me and explain it to me like I'm an idiot because I am an idiot. Chun Li countless kicks. I mean, maybe these cards weren't actually designed to be. They probably weren't designed to be played. Are people going to play these?
Probably not. Yeah, that goes back to our question. I don't know if originally created secret lair cards can be played in any format. Like, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Well,
they're
they're.
neat,
I mean, they're pretty
neat
cool.
art
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
collector pieces. That's all. I just thought they
Pe-
were fun.
People
Some
will
cute
collect these.
characters.
People love Street Fighter. People love Magic the Gathering. A lot of people that love one of those also love the other.
Right.
There you go. And it was just kind of they're just kind of fun. Okay. So
So
I think it was a successful episode too. Don't mock me,
yeah,
Alex.
we have lots to talk about.
Uh, if anybody listened this long into the recording, thank you for listening to Old Man Magic. I hope you enjoyed.
We appreciate you
Thank you for
spending time.
visiting our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at Old Man Magic.
Have fun out there playing Magic and doing other things and be safe.
Anything else to add, Alex?
I don't think
That's it.
so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thanks. See you next week.
Peace.